to this light goddess yin class or practice. The total class time minus the intro is going to be about 20 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to try to make this as short and sweet as possible, but I always like to give the viewer a little bit of an idea of what to expect, especially if this is your first time doing yoga with me. So, hello, my name is Natalie, by the way. I realized belatedly that I don't always introduce myself. Hi. My name is Natalie. I have a doctorate in metaphysical science, and I have a 200-hour yoga certification. I got my 200-hour from Yandara Yoga Institute on the Big Island of Hawaii. So I've been teaching yoga on and off, I'd say, probably more on and off, for about 10 years. And I have additional certifications in yin yoga for women. I've done a little bit of training here and there with Danielle Dulski. She is the author of Women Most Wild. So I love a lot of like witchy, witchy stuff. And then most recently, just really got into sharing more about goddesses. And I am the I guess I need to start talking about the podcast as well. But I just recently put out Sovereign Reality with Natalie, which is my podcast, and I talk about goddess stories through, well, it's a feminist retelling of goddess myths, and yeah, you may want to go check it out. I have my website; it is linked in my bio. It's on my website, like I said, and it's also on Spotify and Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. But I love talking about them. I love invoking their energies. I love sharing them with you, the viewer, as well, because I think a lot of people are misinformed about them. I think a lot of people don't understand it. I think a lot of people associate it with witchcraft, which is also very misunderstood. And it's not evil. It's a very strange concept to associate feminine energy with being evil. I never understood that. You can blame religion and patriarchy for that one, but that's not what this whole thing is about. So, welcome. Anyway, this is going to be Parvati's class. It's very light yin, not a lot in terms of goddess talk, but I do want to just mention that we are getting into the heart space and the lungs today. So the heart is the inner realm of the fire element, and then the lungs, we're getting into the inner realm of the metal element. Fire warms from within, guiding connection, joy, and truth. And then metal gives us breath and boundaries and the courage to release what no longer serves. Together, they create a sort of inner alchemy, a clearing and a warming, and then a softening and a strengthening. So lots of stuff happening for us on an energetic level when we tap into these parts of ourselves, I should say. So the meridian lines, traditional Chinese medicine, kind of like an energetic highway system in the body. We are releasing blockages that run to these vital organs in our bodies, and we are opening them up so that chi, the life force, can flow much more freely to these organs and can function optimally. There we go. So before I do these practices, or before I create these practices, I I like to pull cards from my little goddess cocktail deck, is what I call them. I put Colette Baron-Reid's The Goddess Power Oracle and Doreen Virtue's Goddess Guidance deck together, and I created a big deck of goddesses. And Parvati came out. In Colette Baron-Reid's deck, it says devotion underneath her name. So her reminder is to come back to the self, not the self in the sense of the small I, like the ego, but the self of the soul, the spirit, your connection with source, God, the universe. And what are you devoting yourself to? at the end of the day? Are you devoting yourself to things outside of you? Are you devoting yourself to your connection with your higher self, right? So it's essentially what this practice is going to be about, that reminder to come back to you and that remembrance that you are lovable because, not if. And there is going to be a level of self-forgiveness too. I'll get to that in just a second, okay? So hovering in this space is Parvati, the goddess of devotion. Her devotion to the self is to the self beneath the noise, the self who is worthy simply because you exist. So for the next 20 minutes or so, as we move through our shapes, I invite you to let your heart and lungs speak to you. Let them show you where you're holding, where you're ready to soften, and where devotion wants to rise inside you in its own time and in its own way. Now, yin is never about forcing or fixing. It is always about just noticing and turning gently in toward yourself. If you've never done yin, then you should know that it is a very quiet practice. It's a very self-reflective kind of practice. I will talk a little bit about the shape. I'll, tell you about the meridian, and then I'll get quiet. This class, we're not necessarily holding shapes as long. So, it's a great starting point if you've never done yin before. That said, I do invite you just for today, okay, since this is a devotional type of vibe, and we're going to sort of end, and we're going to start and end with this same sort of anchor point of devotion. And I want you just to kind of reflect on that word in general. What does that mean to you? If you're not thinking of it in terms of external, if you're thinking of it in terms of devoting yourself to, what does that mean? If I'm devoting myself to something today and it's something internal, maybe for you today it's the breath. Maybe that's right. That's a starting point. So I'm going to devote myself right now for the next 20 minutes to the breath. I'm going to devote myself right now for the next 20 minutes to the sensations of my body, the way it feels in my body. I'm going to devote myself for the next 20 minutes to any feelings that come up for me. Okay? Little things like that. It's the devotion piece. Now, at the end of your practice, how can you take that same devotion off your mat? Maybe for you, and this is where you get to think about this throughout your practice or feel about it or let your body talk to you about it. When you get off of your mat today, where else can you devote yourself to you, or to, maybe it's something around self-forgiveness. Maybe it is something more, maybe it's a meditation, maybe it's prayer, maybe it's self-trust, maybe, whatever it is, maybe it's for you. It is your practice, and it's your body, and it's for you. So that's going to be your anchor point. That's going to be your practice and your everything today. Okay, Parvati wants you to come home to yourself, and that is here in the heart space. So just let that be your anchor point. That's going to be where we start, where we finish, and where we return to throughout our practice, okay? You won't need a lot of props today, if any. You don't have to use anything today, but if you want any, you might want to just have a blanket or like a cushion from your couch. Otherwise, we are going to get started in Sukhasana, our happy seat, and I will see you on your mat. Okay, welcome. Let's go ahead and get started. I invite you just to bring your eyes closed if that feels good to you. Otherwise, feel free to keep a gentle gaze about 45 degrees in front of you. You can do palms down today for a little bit of grounding. And let's bring the shoulders up to the ears and then down and back. And we'll take a deep breath in through the nose and exhale. Let that breath go out through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, side out. And one more time, deep breath in through the nose, collecting all of it in the heart space. And exhale, letting it all go. And just return to your regular breathing pattern. Invite you to check in with your spine. See if you can elongate up through the back, from the base of the spine, all the way up. Tilt the chin down slightly toward the chest, elongating through the back of the neck. Releasing any tension in the forehead, letting go of any tension in the jaw and in the tongue. And drawing the awareness now to the heart and lung space. And reflecting on that word, devotion. And giving your body permission to burn away and release anything that you are unknowingly hanging on to that is no longer serving you, no longer serving your highest good. Anything that you are holding on to unknowingly that is harming you. Any subconscious thoughts or patterns of behaviors that are not healthy, that are hurtful, and that undermine your divine or your divinity and your divine inheritance. And for the next 20 minutes, setting that intention of devotion, whatever that may be for you. We'll take a deep breath in together and exhale, sigh it out. If your eyes are closed, I invite you to start gently blinking them open. And if your eyes are already open, feel free to widen them just a little bit. And we're all going to allow the images to come to us. So again, we're not forcing and we're certainly not fixing. We're just allowing. We're just allowing the space to be and allowing the moment to be what it is. Perfect. So our first shape, we are staying exactly like we are. The only difference is we're going to take the dominant leg that's in front, is just move it behind. If your hips are starting to feel a little bit like, a little tired or whatever the case may be, if you've got the blanket handy or you've got maybe a block or something you want to sit on, or the edge of cushion or a blanket or something that can be helpful. It will rock the pelvis forward, and then it will help kind of take the pressure off the hips. Just throwing that out there for you. So we're going into Gomukhasana arms, and we're going to start with the right arm underneath. Now, I understand sometimes the shoulders have limitations, and so I'm going to show you a couple of versions of this. One is simply wrapping, so the right arm is going to go under, it's going to reach for the left shoulder, and then the left arm is going to go over the top. You're going to reach for the right shoulder. You're just going to give yourself a little hug, okay? So you can start here if you'd like. If it's available, the other option here is to wrap the arms around each other and reach opposite hands toward one another. The intention here is we're going to I'm going to start our timer. We're going to kind of bring the elbows up off the chest a little bit here. And you can do the same thing even with the hug if you'd like, or you can, round out through the upper back. That's an option, and you can even do that here with Gomukhasana arms as well. So this shape opens the lung meridian, and it's the pathway of letting go. I'm going to try not to yell into the microphone, by the way. And if at any point you want to kind of go in deeper with that, you're more than welcome to. Just listen to the body. Always coming back to that space of devotion. Perfect. So depending on where you are, if you're rounded through the back, I invite you to come up on the inhale, and exhale, we'll gently release the arms. Let's bring the right hand to the left knee. Left fingertips and the little cupcake fingers or spider fingers at the low back sit up tall on the inhale. We'll exhale, gentle twist behind you, so looking over that left shoulder. Inhale, come back. Exhale, twist just a little bit deeper. Beautiful. And let's set up for Gomukhasana arms on the opposite side. Okay, setting up for Gomukhasana on the opposite side. So you're welcome to switch your legs around again if you would like, or you can keep them exactly as they are. I'm going to keep mine just as they are. But we're going to bring the left arm underneath the right this time. And your Gomukhasana arms or cow-facing arms might look different on this side. You might be able to wrap this side, or you might find that you have to do this. Not have to, but you might find that you need to reach opposite hand to opposite shoulder instead of wrapping them. It's totally fine because everybody's different and every body is different. So while in this on this side, I do invite you to tune into the back of the heart. We're really going to focus on softening in the back of the heart, clearing in the back of the heart. So coming back to that space as well of devotion and your intention of devotion and whatever that was for you today. So no matter what shape you are in, let's take a deep breath in together, and we'll exhale, unravel, untwist. Bring the left hand to the right knee. Make your little cupcake fingers at the base of the spine. We'll sit up tall on the inhale. Exhale, little twist, looking over the right shoulder. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, twist a little deeper. Amazing. And then come back to center. We'll meet in tabletop pose. So here's where a blanket might be helpful for you. The first being, if you have sensitive knees, you can use a blanket for a little cushion underneath the knees. Additionally, you could also fold your mat in half and use it as some cushion or support. You might also decide you would need to fold it in half or into like sort of what would be maybe a pillow kind of look, and I'll explain why here in a moment. So let's set up here in our tabletop position. We're going to keep the hips up off the heels, because if we bring the hips down, that's going to change the shape, okay? We're going to start by walking the hands out as far as they will go, and then start melting the chest down toward the mat. The head and the forehead will rest on the mat as well. So this is melting heart pose, and for good reason. The hips do stay up again off the heels. If we bring the hips down, that turns into child's pose. So as you can probably feel, if you're newer to yin, it's kind of intense on the upper body. This is where you could place your forehead or your head on top of your folded up blanket or a cushion, or a pillow off your couch if you needed some extra support. If you wanted it more intense, you could roll up your blanket and rest your forearms on the blanket, and that will intensify the pose. So we'll go ahead and melt here. So this shape softens the heart meridian. This is the pathway of joy and warmth. And I invite you just to notice what the heart is whispering in this pose. See if you can allow anything that needs to melt away, or just invite it. Perfect. Let's take a deep breath in here and exhale. Start walking the hands back toward the body and just come to sit on the heels for a moment. And let's give ourselves a little hug here. And try not to yell into the mic. I have a tendency to do that. If you feel like taking child's pose, like traditional rounding out here, you can do that as well. That's an option. Perfect. Now we're going to make our way onto our backs. Move my props off to the side. Well, my timer's not really a prop, but you get what I'm saying. All right. Okay, good. So once you are on your back, you know what? Let's go ahead just for a moment and bring the soles of the feet onto the mat. And we'll walk the feet out to the edges of the mat and just bring the knees to one side and then the other. And then one side and then the other. A little windshield wiper motion here. Feels really nice on the low back. Good. And then we'll walk the legs out so they're straight on the mat. And let's bring the feet to the left corner of the mat. And you're welcome to either put them side by side, or you can bring the right ankle on top of, so you're crossing the right leg on top of the left. And then the back is going to stay straight on, you're going to stay flat on your back, but start arching your spine, so curving your spine down toward your feet. So you're creating this like arch, Banana Asana, if you've never done yin. With your back, again, your back is still flat on the mat. Your arms can stay down alongside your body like so, but I do encourage you to bring them up like this, because this is really going to be what taps into the lung and the heart meridian lines here. And if you can curve down even more toward your feet, you're going to notice even more of a sensation from the right pinky, all the way down to the top of the right hip. I'm going to set our timer here. Perfect. So this shape opens both fire and metal pathways, the heart and lungs working together. So a lot of inner alchemy happening here. Perfect. So we'll take a deep breath in here and we'll exhale. Slowly come back to the center of your mat. And we'll do the same thing that we did prior to taking Banana Asana. So walking the feet out to the edges of the mat and doing this little windshield wiper motion with the knees. Saying hi to your pets if you've got them. And now, I'm sorry, you guys, setting up for Banana Asana on the opposite side. So the feet will now go to the right corner of your mat, and you can decide whether you'd like to cross your ankles or not. And the torso curves in toward your feet. I'm going to set our timer here. And then I encourage the arms to come up over your, well, not up over your head per se, but into these goalpost arms. However, if that's way too uncomfortable, please listen to your body. And on this side, I invite you just to ask yourself where you can offer yourself a little bit of tenderness today. Or a little bit of grace. Good. We'll take a deep breath in here and exhale. Come back to center. Walk the soles of the feet onto the mat. Do this little windshield wiper motion with the knees. I invite you now to hug and squeeze the knees into the chest. Give yourself a little hug. And let's bring the eyes closed. And just check in with yourself. We're going to start setting up now for Shavasana. So if there is anything else that you need to do before getting into your Shavasana of choice, then this is your opportunity to do so. I'm going to encourage you just to pause the video and then get into your Shavasana, hit play, and I will meet you there. Okay. Welcome back. So once you have found your Shavasana of choice, I invite you to just start by tuning into the weight of the body on the mat beneath you. Just noticing perhaps how the body feels after moving through the practice. Any little shifts that might have been made. On a mind or body level. Let's just take out any tension in the face, so softening through the forehead, allowing the lower jaw to part from the upper and softening through the tongue. And we'll tilt the chin down slightly toward the chest to elongate through the back of the neck. Let's make a little space in the underarms, keeping the hands below the heart, but still remembering we're not confined to the mat. So you can allow the arms to come off the mat if you want. Allow the legs to come off the mat if you'd like. Bringing the awareness once more to the heart space. The fire element in the lungs, the metal element, and that beautiful alchemical process that you've initiated today. And remembering that a lot of times what we start here in yin is subtle. It's like planting a seed in the ground, and we can't always see it right away. It's the energy body. And so it plants the seed, and then eventually things shift. But you've released, you've healed, and for the last few minutes, devoted yourself to something internal. And now, maybe for today, and maybe for the remainder of the week, or however long, maybe when you return again to do this practice, you'll come back to that space of devotion and remembrance of what else can I devote myself to. My inner landscape. If you would like to remain in Shavasana for a little bit longer or indefinitely, please do. If you would like to start making your way out of it, we'll start by bringing the awareness first to the breath, the awareness of the body again on the mat, and then making micro movements with the fingers and the toes, and then bigger movements with the hands and the feet, and then maybe a full body stretch before turning over onto your left or your right hand side and using that bottom arm as a pillow. We'll take a moment in our fetal position, just honoring that new beginning energy. And taking that top hand, pressing into the mat or the earth beneath you, peeling the torso up. You come into your seated posture, how we began our practice today. I got my little happy helper here. So we'll bring the hands together in the Anjali Mudra. Prayer hands in front of the heart and the sternum. Tilt the chin down toward the chest. Mahalo nui loa. Thank you so very much for trusting me today with your practice and your body and experience. And may the benefits of today's practice stay with you long after today is over. May you continue to find ways to remember that devotion of self. And I don't mean the little self. I always want to be clear on that. It is the bigger self. You are so much bigger than this, okay? Thank you, Parvati, for the guidance. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I think that's it. My soul honors your soul. I honor the place inside of you in which the entire universe resides. I honor the light, the shadow, the peace, the truth, and the beauty within you because it is also within me. In sharing these things, we are connected. We are one. We are the same. Aloha and namaste.